Hello, Deep Mindfulness Collective. Apparently, this right here, right now, is the joy of being a live stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. Folks, this is not supposed to be happening, but I discovered it about 15 seconds before the stream was going to start. What do you think could be causing this? What are the parameters here? Oh, okay, very interesting. It's not the camera. The camera seems to be displaying properly. I guess I'll try to plug and replug a couple things, see which is causing what. Oops. Okay, let me see if I'll unplug. I'll be right back. Give me a second here. Unless this is how we want to do the whole stream. But in the meantime, tell me, where are you at and what are you grateful for? Hello, Dave. Okay, where am I here? So weird. Okay. Okay, let's see if this is... How's everyone doing? Welcome. We're working out a few visual technical difficulties, but you know, it happens. And yes, indeed. Coming from Lithuania. Nope, it is not the camera. It has to be the software. Because it's coming in fine from... It's coming in fine on other software, so it has to actually be the software itself that's doing something wrong. Okay, I'm going to add the source again, see what happens. Folks, okay, delighted to be here with you. Try this one. Nope. Okay, try it again. Folks, lovely to be here with you as always. It might just be an audio only live stream, which is very funny, but if I can't get the video to work, that would be a bit of a thing. Okay. Weird. So weird. Okay, it worked. So weird. It's not. It's like the source. It makes no sense. Okay. Well, okay, now I just gotta flip myself off. Transform. Flip horizontal. There we go. Boom. There we are. Fixed. Folks, so weird. What a weird thing. Okay, that's how it is. That's the bottom. Okay, there's the chat. Chat's appearing. Okay, we did it. Rebuild the thing every time. Okay, folks, lovely to be here. Look, everyone, Nick's here. Welcome. Nick coming here from Gothenburg. There's an echo. How about now? There should not be an echo anymore. Echo should be gone. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Dave. There's an echo. Hello from the old office in Gothenburg, Sweden. Grateful for high humidity and lemons. How delightful. How far can we go this way before we hit the edge of the world? There's the edge of the world. Okay, great. Delightful indeed. Okay, wonderful. Well, Nick, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're joining us again. Aaron here from Indiana. Hummingbirds. Hummingbirds are so cool, man. Hummingbirds are weird, drony, crazy beings. There was a bunch of them at one of the retreats that I was teaching this summer, last few weeks ago. And there was just like a whole mess of them, just like just like flying around like crazy. Very cool. Good day from Portland, Oregon. Grateful for babies, puppies, and kittens. Oh my God. How delightful. What a utter and complete delight. Indeed. Oh, you know what this means? I have to copy this camera source to, yep. Okay, I have to copy this camera source over here. Delete this because it won't work for the guided meditation either. Okay. Transform. It's so weird. I wouldn't even know how to explain what the hell just happened. Basically, whatever. You guys don't worry about this. It takes so long to explain. Okay, so fun. It's fixed. Doesn't matter. Okay, folks, lovely to be here with you as always. Here's what I want to ask. People who are not in the class, I should actually have the answer to this. I was going to ask if we'd done this meditation before. Today is technically Freaky Friday. So we could make up a new meditation based on your personal interests, curiosities, challenges, whatever's coming up for you. So hit me with any thoughts around that. Yeah, we didn't do a new. I thought on this stream we did a meditation where we observed new material, things that were arising as new and seeing them as empty, but I think I might have only done that in the class. If anyone remembers if I did that on stream, Dave's probably the only one who would remember, because I feel like Dave's the only one who's been here consistently and who is not in the class. So hit me with your thoughts. That was what I was thinking we would do, but I'm actually really open. We can do whatever you guys want. So any other thoughts, questions, queries, anything you want to do a meditation on, any topic in particular, we can go from there. And yeah, good times for all. I'm surprisingly sleepy today. I think I didn't do any matcha today. I started up on the matcha again. And then today I didn't do that at all. So that's probably why. Okay, folks, we're going to meditate here for 25 minutes. I'm going to encourage you to keep the body entirely still as a stone, unless you need to move, in which case I just suggest you move very mindfully. Twitch stream, wonderful. Okay. Okay, so we haven't talked about this on the stream yet. So new is a quality of impermanence. It is the appearance of material as it arises into consciousness. It's like the moment it appears. In certain Tibetan practices, you can do something called sealing practice, where it's as though things were sort of like a fountain, like springing into the present moment. This moment is sort of appearing to us at all times. And so you're getting right at the edge of where that's appearing, and at that point noting it appearing. Empty is like impermanence, but it is a spatial model. Empty is to say that spatially there is no solidity to it, whereas impermanence says that temporally there is no continuity to it. So those are the two big sort of ways of seeing, de-objectifying our worlds from Buddhist perspective. Early Buddhism is impermanence. Later Buddhism is more about emptiness. So one goes from a temporal to a spatial model. So there we are. And so this is where I rest when I'm between things at this computer. I'm not going to rest. No rest. Okay, folks. Hit me with where are you at, if you haven't already. What are you grateful for, if you haven't already? And then we're going to meditate here for 25 whole minutes. I want you to find a nice, comfortable position that you can maintain for the duration of the sit. And we're going to do a meditation. So I'll just tell you ahead of time, the meditation that we're going to do is we're going to be noting new material as it arises, as it comes into consciousness. And the instant it comes into consciousness, we're going to see if we can see it as empty, see it as transparent to the mind. I think that this is something, it took me a long time to see, but the solidity of any experience that seems solid, which is a lot of our experience, right? You see this thing, it's like, this seems solid, right? And then you want to say it is solid because it seems solid to me, right? It definitely is solid. But especially now, right, you can't see it at all. So the mind is just holding some image of something being solid. Your mind can pass right through that image, and that solidity is something that the mind is holding. That took me a long time to see, and so actually allowing the mind to pass through any and all objects is very significant. So there we are, folks. Okay, so getting your racing positions, and in a moment we're going to jump in here. We are going to wait for Nick. Nick, let us know when you're ready, and then we'll begin. Everyone's waiting. Nick's probably at work. Okay. You still have a chance, Nick. And if not Nick, then we will choose Aaron. Aaron, when you're ready, let us know, and we'll begin. Anyone? Okay, when anyone says they're ready, we'll begin. Okay, folks, we're going to begin. Okay, ready. Okay, let's roll, folks. Here we go. I gotta remember. Welcome to the Deep Mindfulness Collective. If you need more information, you can find it at deepmindfulness.io. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths. Just feeling the body rise and fall. Each time we begin a meditation, we arrive with the momentum of all of the previous moments. So taking a moment to take stock of the speed of our current experience, and if we can, to see that as empty, to allow the mind to pass through whatever seems solid in that experience, whether it's the speed of the mind or the sense of activity in the body and the senses. As we sweep through the body, I'd like you to see each experience itself as transparent. So as we start at the top of the head and relax the brow, the muscles behind the eyes, letting awareness pass through these experiences. Notice as awareness passes through them, passes through the sensations of the face as it relaxes, as the back of the tongue as it relaxes, as the jaw as it let go, allowing it to be slack. As you allow awareness to pass through these, simply noticing the remainder when we allow these sensations to be either part of the whole, or we let awareness pass through as though it were kind of scan across. there can be a kind of remainder that leaves a trace. So noticing that remainder, just letting awareness pass through that. Allowing awareness to pass through the shoulders and arms, the wrists and the hands. Allowing awareness to pass through the torso as we observe the breath simply coming and going. Relax the belly and the lower back. The hips and the upper legs, the knees and the calves, the ankles, and relaxing the feet. And then as we relax the entire body, letting awareness pass through the sense of any solidity of the entire body. Being sure to include any sense of an observer. This may feel disorienting or even confusing, and that's fine. In fact, we want to allow ourselves to go in that direction. And for a few moments, simply watching our current experience appear. Paying particular attention to the arising, the instant it comes into consciousness. Not being confused that we are, in fact, watching a thing arise, but that it is entering consciousness. Consciousness is touching the sense data. So observing the raw edge of the newness of experience. And we can cycle through, starting with the body, noticing any and all new experience as it arises throughout the body. The second we notice any sensation, staying right at the foreground of perception. At first it can seem novel and like a different practice, something we're unfamiliar with, but over time this new quality can have a kind of joyous, springy awakeness. There's a kind of delight we can begin to find as reality appears to us. This is pure novelty. Now we can transition to sound. Watching sound as it appears, the instant it comes into consciousness. You may notice that if we listen closely enough to this appearing edge, it's as though the sound doesn't sound like a thing. It's sort of primordial sound, almost before it becomes sound. Being sure to include the sound of the mind. Even if the mind is quiet, still allowing that to be part of the listening experience at the instant of appearance. And now we can transition to observe seeing. If the eyes are closed, or if the eyes are open and resting on a single point, observing the experience at the instant it comes into consciousness. Including mental imagery. Being sure not to strain. Sometimes when we observe seeing or mental seeing closely, we can strain physically. Strain the eyes or strain the muscles in the face. Remember, there's no need to strain. We simply observe at the instant of appearance. And then taking in all of our experience, all sense data as it appears in this particular moment. Undifferentiated, no particular sense gate. Noticing this quality of appearance more than the quality of which sense is appearing. and surrendering to this thin sliver of experiencing the appearance of this particular moment. It's as though we're riding a kind of edge. The edge of the appearance of experience into consciousness. And allow awareness itself to pass below that threshold. This is counterintuitive, and the foreground of the mind, in other words, attention, cannot make this passage. But awareness can know deeper down below the floor of consciousness. This requires that we use our intuition because we cannot grasp it with the mind. It's as though we're letting awareness say, sure, maybe it's somewhere over there. It's as though we're observing this phenomenon before it appears. Again, this will likely be confusing to the foreground of the mind, but simply letting the background of the mind touch the same material, letting awareness reach past the floor of consciousness to touch material as it appears, even before it appears. And for a moment, letting go of any doing, letting go of any technique, any meditation, and we may notice the momentum of practice continuing, or we may notice this fracturing and becoming something else, just drifting away from the practice. We may continue to notice the appearance of this particular moment even without trying, and we may not. The mind might just be pulled to something else. focused or attentive or aware, we might be distracted. Foggy, unconscious, any of these may be the case, as we're not trying to change this moment in any way. Staying with the practice, staying in stillness, allowing a little bit of light to enter the eyes, eventually allowing the eyes to rest on a single point as they fully open. Still not needing to do anything. Letting this non-doing be its own practice. We don't need to practice. The body and mind is wired to heal itself. It's wired to awaken. And in this way, letting this particular moment be the great teacher. It shows us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay. Allow yourself a little stretch. Oh yeah. Okay, folks. Hit me with what happened, what that was like, and what you're like now, and we'll go from there. I'm going to have to handle the puppy pretty soon, so please hit me with your reports now, because I got a not anxious, but a little antsy puppy on my hands. If you also want to jump into the Discord, you can, but again, do now or forever hold your pizza. Where is... Okay, excellent. Here it is. Wow, okay. Okay, Dave's here with his hand up. Okay, Dave, I'm going to let you in. Feel free to jump in anytime.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Thank you for the guided meditation.
Absolutely, happy to help.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to get clarified on like when you said do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
What does like do nothing means? How to do it? Like, do you also have to not think, or like
No.
observe?
So,
Yeah.
so Shikantaza is a Japanese practice, or not Japanese, rather Zen practice. Shikantaza is the Japanese word for it, and it is sometimes translated as just sit, but other times I've heard it translated as sitting alone. Not alone, like you're separate, but it's like just only sitting, basically. So it's like sitting alone, sitting, basically, to some degree. So part of the premise is in that practice, you have the posture that is very specific. It's very strong. You have very clear posture. and you don't break the posture. But other than that, you don't try to control anything. You don't try to do nothing. You don't try to, meditate or not meditate. And if you usually there's no guidance on something like this. You just do it. But if I do guide it with people, I always talk about probabilities or possibilities. Like, you might be alert and attentive, but you might not. You might be, your mind might be talking and chattering all along, but it might not. Your mind might be spacious and clear. Your mind might be foggy and, cloudy. And you can't choose. It just is what it is. And sometimes you're doing a do nothing meditation is what's occurring, and your mind is scattered and lost, and you're fighting with yourself, but you don't stop it. It's just that whatever's happening is happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So
It's hard to do. It's and that's a lot of the premise, is that a lot of the practice itself is sitting there going like, wait, am I doing? Is this doing? Wait, am I doing something? That's a lot of the practice is that.
can you also do it while lying down, not like with perfect posture?
You can, but I for a long time I wondered, because there's always has to be a balance between wakefulness and restfulness. And often part of the way you balance that in other techniques is you're doing a thing. So there's an amount of wakefulness. So you can do it while you're laying down. You can do it in any posture, and it doesn't matter. And I always wondered, how do they create that balance with Shikantaza? Because how could you possibly grow? How is there any sort of balance of those two when you just sit there and nothing, you don't try to intervene? How is that any different than the rest of our lives, right? The central key actually is that in the traditional practice is that the posture is really, really strict. So strict that there's someone walking around with a stick. And if you mess up, or if you slouch, or you lose posture, it's ceremonial. They don't come up and like run up and smack you or something like that, but it's ceremonial. They come up and they stand in front of you, and when they stop in front of you, okay, my posture's failed, and so you bow, and they hit you over the back, like on each shoulder. I think maybe more than once. I think, or maybe just once on each shoulder or something like that. But it's like a half-inch thick flat oak rod, and they hit you. But the thing is that people don't understand that it's actually, in a way, it's not like they hit you in the head and it's like, ow, that hurts so bad. Like, it does hurt, but there's a nerve in the neck that'll often like shoot your body full of like energy. Shinzen used to actually do this, but he realized people were like getting addicted to it. They'd be like, all right, let's do it, hit me. And they'd be like all into like getting hit, when it's like that's not the premise. But the point is that you're outsourcing the posture, you're outsourcing the doing. The doing is handled by a person who's walking around. So it's a very brilliant piece of meditation technology where you don't do anything except for keep the posture. And even if you fail at that, someone will correct you externally. It's very powerful. So the short version is, if you're doing it at home, you kind of have to keep a pretty solid posture, or you can just drift, you're just going to nap and fall asleep and that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I usually do lying down nowadays because I have like problems when I sit. So
yeah, well, lying down is a good practice. If you're not getting sleepy, then maybe it's not the worst thing. You could try it, but yeah, non-doing practice is its own universe of stuff.
I got caught up like a couple times to sleep, but
Yeah,
I
and
managed
that's
to
gonna
stay
happen. It's
right.
actually, if you really do it, there will be hours where you're practicing and you're just like, my mind is just doing, just going in loops and loops, and just like whatever, doing all the stuff the mind does, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no choice. You're just like, that's what it is.
I see.
Yeah. In a way, it's a slow practice. The way that I've heard it described is like, one practice is like you're drilling through the mountain to get down to the to the lava, or I guess that's not quite how it works. You're drilling through the mountain to create a tunnel so you can pass through the mountain of awakening, right? And one is where you're drilling down, and you're the one drilling. And this practice is one where you're just sitting there, and you're just like, eventually something's going to come, and you're just waiting for something to like break through the rock, and you see no progress and nothing's happening, and eventually it just like cracks, and you're like, oh, okay, and awakening occurs. So it's a very faith-based process, but it is often, I've had people who have really intense anxiety, really intense difficulty, and the only thing that ever gives them relief is non-doing.
I see.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, awesome technique. Was interesting to learn. Thank Thank you for that.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I'll put you in the audience. Let's talk soon.
Yeah, talk soon.
Okay, Alex has a report here.
Awesome. I have been trying to notice newness throughout seemingly continuous sensations. It feels like constantly refreshing the page, like it's tumbling forth somehow even if the see, hear, or feel is consistent. Does this seem right?
Yep.
I had previously only thought of nude gone as applying to discrete sensations with obvious beginning and end.
Yep. Great. Nope. It's literally to the opening of consciousness itself. It's the appearance of anything into consciousness. And so this is one of the things again, it's like I don't criticize Shinzen. Shinzen's a super genius, wonderful, etc. And he has his own system, and so this point where I'm going to disagree with him. So he doesn't talk a lot about the mind as awareness itself or consciousness itself. And there's a lot of meditation that does. So it is material as it's entering into consciousness, regardless of what sense gate it's in. And it's a really smart model that he has, and it's just doesn't have that piece, that component in there. So there's that. Thank you, Alex. Excellent. Aaron says, constantly refreshing the page feels like a really good description. It does. That is a really good description. There's like a constant, that one and the sort of like, in a sense I think of like a water spout, right? Water's like flowing up. And so usually we're just watching water at the top, or you could say like there's a water spout going like this, and we're just watching this like top thing. It's just appearing and appearing. We're like, oh, okay, yep. And it's like see, hear, feel, just watching things appear. And then as we sort of observe them, the second they appear, the floor of consciousness starts to go down and down and down to we're starting to see this like primordial material appearing there. And as you watch it, it causes things to not appear as solid. It sort of sees things as empty. And in fact, the last practice we did was as things were appearing into new, seeing them as empty the instant they arise. Sort of like the next step in the same practice. And then let's see here. Alex then says, thank you for all these great reports, Alex.
Switching to do nothing was kind of whoa, letting off of effort. I felt this whole body upwelling. Effervescent, giddy sort of feeling that was not overwhelming, but could have been if it was turned up a little more.
Nice. Yeah, it's often nice to do a do nothing practice after you have a practice that has a lot of doing. It's actually very powerful to see like, oh wait, this is occurring. I don't need to do anything in order to this experience to occur. So wonderful, lovely. Okay, folks, I have to take care of this dog. So unless a report appears instantaneously, I'm going to jump off. I'm going to hit you with some outro music. Folks, lovely to be here with you. I'll see you here in fewer than 72 hours. Right now, in this particular moment, observe the experience of sensations arising as they appear in this particular moment. Hear the background sounds of clicking as I furiously put emojis into the chat. Folks, lovely as always to be here. Watch that new experience. Watch it appear in all of our particular sensations all the time. That is a wonderful opportunity to bring practice into every facet of our life. Folks, lovely to be here with you as always. And as always, practice well. Take care of each other. Have fun. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Bye. Bye, folks. Bye.